Okay, hello everyone. This is Colin Cox, and in this short bit of audio, I just wanted to offer a couple of reminders for this week. So, there isn't a full audio lecture because this is the week where you will submit both the poetry unit exam and the poetry unit essay. So, let's start with the poetry unit essay. Remember, everything's due at the end of the week, so you still have a fair amount of time as I'm saying this. You can submit to the rough draft folder, but I would encourage you to, if you haven't already, I would encourage you to submit at some point before Friday, because if you submit after Friday, I probably won't have a chance to read it, and even if I did, it's probably not enough time for you to make any corrections, etc. So if you intend to get a rough draft to me, sooner is better than later. So regarding the poetry unit exam, the prompt is now available on D2L. If you go to the Content tab under Exam Prompts, it should be the only option at this point, the poetry unit exam prompt. And before I talk about the prompt itself, I won't read it on this bit of audio, but I wanted to remind you that the exam is not due until the end of the week, which means you have an entire week to complete this exam. And the assignment folder, it's open and available on D2L. So if you want to do it early in the week, that's fine, just so long as you submit by the end of the week. If you submit after Sunday at 11:59 p.m., I will, of course, apply a late penalty. And I'll remind you of this at the end of this audio, but always ensure that you're submitting to the right assignment folder, because I know, and this might seem trivial, but essay and exam, if you're in a hurry especially, they look quite similar. And I'm only saying this because I've had students do it in the past. They submit to the exam folder when they mean to submit to the essay folder, and vice versa. So just take a second and ensure that you're submitting to the correct folder, especially if you're submitting multiple assignments at the same time, because it's not uncommon for students to submit their essay and their exam at the same time. So I just wanted to say that. But once you open and read the poetry unit exam prompt, I think you'll notice a couple of things. First, you'll notice you have options. So I want you to write 2 short essays in response to 4 of the options on the exam prompt itself. And this is important. Again, you're not writing in response to 1 or even all 4. You are selecting 2 of the 4, and you have the freedom to pick whichever 2 you want. I also want you to write 350 to 400 words in response to each option, which is another way of saying, if you wanted to imagine you're writing 2 mini essays, each mini essay must meet that 350 to 400 word minimum requirement. It's not a situation where the entire document is 350 to 400 words. It needs to be 350 to 400 words per essay. And of course, you can exceed that minimum word range. That's not a problem. I just want you to at least hit that minimum word count. Now, the final thing I'll mention, again, I've already mentioned when everything is due. When you go to submit the poetry unit exam, when you go to submit your exam, please don't think you need to submit multiple documents. You can just put everything on the same document. Just label everything correctly. So for example, if you select options 2 and 4, maybe you can just put language at the beginning of each essay or before each essay that just specifies which option it is. Again, this doesn't need to be too terribly difficult. It's not something you need to spend a lot of time thinking about. Just ensure that I understand which of the options you're responding to, because if I don't know, then it's difficult for me to assess whether or not you've written, to some degree, a proper essay, or if you've adequately addressed the broad question or questions housed within each of those options. So please ensure that you do that. I don't want to take a lot of time with this bit of audio, so I'll just say a few things in summation, a few reminders. The first, and I'll focus on the poetry unit essay now. It's due at the end of the week, and please remember, everything's due at the end of the day, 11:59 p.m., but you can submit your poetry unit essay at any point this week. However, if you want to submit a rough draft and receive feedback, you need to do so ideally before Friday. If you submit after Friday to the rough draft folder, I won't have an opportunity to read it and provide feedback. Regarding the exam itself, you also have a week. It's also due at the end of the week, 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. The prompt is available in the content tab. Please read it. You're selecting 2 of those 4 options. There's a minimum word count for each mini essay or each option that you select. And when you go to submit your exam, you don't need to submit multiple documents. You can just house everything on the same document. Just ensure that I understand or that I know which of the options on the prompt you are writing in response to. Okay, if you have any questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to contact me, but I would strongly encourage you, and if you're at this point, you've already listened to it, I would encourage you to listen to this audio because I think I've addressed a lot of the questions you might have. However, if you have lingering questions, again, don't hesitate to contact me. And yeah, okay, I look forward to reading your essays and your exams. This is Colin Cox for English 1020. Have a wonderful week.